All right, welcome back, Dreamedia family. We are on day number 3 of this incredible home theater installation out here in Colorado. We have gotten through a lot of the heavy lifting, let's just say. All the holes are cut. Now, at the end of the day yesterday, we started running all of our wires here at the back of the room. We got a couple more holes to cut to get our wiring over to the back bar speakers as well as this front left. But our next goal today is going to be finishing the wiring, cleaning everything up, and getting ready for the speaker installation at the end of the day today. So I'm going to take you through the room and show you exactly where we are right now. Thanks for following along, guys. If you like this type of content, make sure you drop comments down below and let us know how we're doing. Give us a big thumbs up, share, comment, all that good stuff. It really helps with boosting our engagement and allowing it to pop up in more people's feed. Thank you, guys. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so it's like a war zone in here right now. Kevin actually just asked, can I clean this up? So he's working on picking up some tools and kind of getting our work site a little bit neater. But we already started running a lot of our wires here to our home run, which is going to come all the way back here to the rack. We'll still need to get through that header up there. That's going to be a beast. But we're going to be working on that this morning as well. Here at the rear of the room, we went ahead and got several of the wires in for these rear speakers. We have our landscape wire that I ran just in case they want to do some outdoor speakers around the perimeter of this patio firing into the yard so that it doesn't have to be turned up so loud on these speakers there. Probably like a 70-volt system like I have in my own backyard. Additionally, we have our subwoofer RG6 line, which we're going to need to pull a little bit of slack back because it's going to go down to here in the hole that we cut. And then we got our speaker wire for our rear surround right. Additionally, we got our HDMIs pulled for our projector and the TV that may go out on the patio up there when we relocate this guy in phase 2. Additionally, we have a Romex cable ran for our electrician, and we're going to need to get a data cable in, a little Cat 6 as well, over to our projector. So we're kind of just working on this back wall right now, getting all of this wiring ran over while Kevin gets us prepped to bring our wiring all the way to the rack, all the way to that front left speaker, and all the way over here to the bar. Things are moving along. I'm going to go ahead and throw the camera on the tripod so that you guys can follow along. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Cruising, guys. Chase just has the front left over here with the subwoofer and our power for our projector screen that he's running. Kevin's working on fishing the lines back to the bar. We're going to relocate the initial distributed audio speakers that were in here hooked up to the Sonos system to the bar so that he has another zone that he can pair together with the patio, this room, the home theater, as well as the rest of the home. Moving along. All right, guys, we are cruising now. We got all of our speaker wires to their final destination, which is a huge accomplishment. All of our holes are cut. The electricians just showed up and they're working on getting all of our outlets put in at the exact location so we see no wires. I'm gonna go ahead and work on home running all of these wires back over here to the closet, and then we'll be drilling through that header. Thanks for following along, guys. We appreciate your support. All right, check it out, guys. We're moving along with this install. I just went ahead and upgraded our braces to 2x6s and added an extra set of steel structural support. This is gonna go right in between our floor joists, actually. It's gonna go in between our floor joists like this. And the screen, it's gonna go on the left and the right-hand side of the screen. The screen's gonna bolt in right in the middle. That way, there's no possible way the screen's gonna move at all. I always like to overkill things just to make sure that there's no issues down the line. So we're moving along. We're gonna go ahead and set up our ladders and get our braces put in. We got the electricians here, get this retractable, motorized in-ceiling screen hooked up. Let's go. All right, check it out, guys. We're working on getting our screen ready for installation. And we're gonna be using these Z brackets here today. Chase is sliding in our screws right now. And this is gonna be a direct to ceiling installation. You can see here in the manual, we're gonna be using this installation method here. And we're gonna screw right into that bracing that I just showed you guys.
Rocky, a little backwards, getting gritted. The bolt slides into the track, not the nut washer, right? So I'm actually sliding the bolts in, putting the Z bracket, washers, and then nuts.
Perfect.
So, no, if you were hoping this is not a manual, I would have assumed she just went the opposite way. And then I'll come back and crank these down.
Yeah, so we're gonna do this on both sides of the projector screen. And then we're gonna take our bracing over here that I built, and we're gonna screw that into the subfloor, the side of the joist, left and right. And then that bracket right here is going to bolt directly into our framing right here that we're about to put in on each side, left and right of the projector screen, ensuring that it has a secure, stable installation. Getting it done. All right, check it, guys. I'm about to bolt these in. I'm gonna have 2 on that side, 2 support beams on that side. We're 1.7 inches off of our 130.9 inch measurement. And we're gonna be drilling lags straight into these solid support beams, ensuring that this puppy doesn't go anywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt these in now. All right, check it out, guys. I got one of the braces up now. I'm gonna show you up close how intense the bracing is. We're just kind of overkilling this thing to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. It's a really heavy projector housing. Check this out. All right, this is what we're gonna be screwing the housing into. Steel brackets, 2x6. And we're just gonna screw right into here with 2 lags, and that should be more than enough to house this. All right, check it out here. We now have beam number 2 in place. Nice and secure up in there. On that side, super secure over there. We're now gonna go ahead and get our projector screen up here on the ladders and have the electrician make the connections to the junction and mount it. This is a big accomplishment here on this project. I can't wait to see this puppy up in there.
You guys see a tight kink in a cable where it wraps around like this and pinches. Once you stretch the copper back out, there's no guarantee that the copper will not break. Just replace the cable. So we saw that. We're going to cut off those 15 feet and make sure it's a nice, clean FREP run.
Okay, so right now the electricians are working on connecting high voltage into the projectors housing right now, as well as we got the AV crew here working on splicing in an IR sensor so that we can send our signal out of the URC system to the projector screen. So every time the customer hits Xfinity or Apple or Kaleidoscape or any source, it'll just automatically, as part of the sequence with turning on the AVR, turning on that device, it'll also drop our screen to the appropriate height automatically with one button press touch. So we're using a Cat 6 cable, which has 8 strands of wires in it, and we're just separating out 2 strands. In this case, it looks like the guys are going to be using orange and orange white, if you look right here, and then we just put the rest of the strands back. We could potentially use them later down the road, but pretty unlikely. We do the exact same thing for the projector. That way, when they hit their command to watch the movie, the screen lowers, the projector comes on, AVR comes on, the device, whether that's Apple or Xfinity or whatever, comes on, and everything turns to the correct input. And all the homeowner has to do is use their voice control and say, I want to watch Top Gun. And it goes straight to Top Gun. It's supposed to be easy. All of this wiring, and if it's set up properly, makes it to where it doesn't matter what age, level of technology that the customer's used to, easy to use, one button press. That's what we're working on right now. It's just getting all that wired in. All right, so you can see right here, we got our wires in for the high voltage. We're gonna close that up and we're gonna bolt that enclosure right to our subfloor. Guys are working on getting our wires spliced in. Can you show that to the...
Yeah. So like that, what we did is we took an IR wire and it looks the same, right guys? When you split this out, it's gonna be hard to see there. Now, one of these will either be marked with white tape on the side, like a white paint, or when you actually strip the wire out, one of them will be silver and one of them will be gold. And that's how you'll know negative and positive, right? All right, guys, so we're joining our IR cable to a CAT cable to send this signal remotely because these IR cables are only a couple feet long. So a little pro tip here, I've got my CAT copper stranded out as well as my IR. Okay, I'm gonna twist this up like you'd think, but it is a stranded to a solid core connection. So it's not really gonna grab that well. If I just slide my junction on now, it's going to push the IR cable out of the way. So once I've got that stranded, you're gonna fold that in half there. Don't pinch it to the point where the copper breaks, but now the IR can't just slide off, because what'll happen is you'll push this on and it's just gonna push the IR cable out of the way. And you're gonna be sitting there fighting with it for hours. So by just putting that tiny little fold in it, we're gonna bring that back here. And this is a compression fitting, right? So once it's on, go ahead and try, don't break your cable, but try and pull this off. Make sure it's snug, because what can happen if, I don't know if you guys can see down in there, there's like a little metal tube.
Yeah, they
right?
can see it.
That's what I'm compressing.
Yep.
Right, so if that doesn't grab both the wires, it does you no good. And that's it. So it's a junction wire. We're gonna go ahead and take this back, make sure it's nice and secure and can't get damaged. We'll do this the same on our rack side. So on this side, I've got my IR emitter locally to control my screen. And then on my rack side, I've got what looks like an 1/8 inch cable, right? So that'll plug back into my URC MRX5 and allow me to send the command to the screen, and will also allow URC to know the status of the screen at all times. And I'm just offsetting these so that it's not too bulky. It'd be pretty bulky with 2 of those next to each other. And if you're new to doing it, if you're trying this at home, when you get to the point where you have both sides terminated, before you put anything in the wall or get rid of anything, go ahead and send out some fake IR commands and just look for a flash here. Okay, you may have positive and negative flip. If that happened, it's not a big deal. Your control won't work right, but this will still flash, and then you can just switch the end that's accessible in the closet, because this will be buried in the ceiling long term, obviously.
All right, guys, it is going down. Finally, we're gonna throw this housing up into the ceiling. Watch this. So we have all our connections made. Everything's good to go on our high voltage. We did disconnect our trigger. It's gonna connect right here for our IR sensor control through the URC system. Chase has it taped up and ready to go. You can see right here is the sensor all taped up so that it makes a nice solid connection. And then this is going to plug in. Here, we don't want to snap it off, so we're going to put it in after, but we're going to go ahead and throw this puppy up. I am ready for this. Give me some. Nice work, man. Woo! Oh, we did it. It's up. All right, so now that we finally got this beast up in there, Chase is working on connecting our control up in there. So you can see. Oh, yeah. Now we're talking, baby. This is cool. I haven't done one of these in years, dude. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Flap it up. All right, so these are the two side caps here. They're just plastic, and it's gonna cover up our access in case we ever need to access it again. But I'm gonna go ahead and seal this up right now. Push these puppies in. Nice. And then Chase is putting on the other one over there.
These are pretty easy. All this is this plastic, so you kind of depress this a little bit, and the hack is ledge up here, so it's easy to pop out. For date long-term maintenance of the tree.
Sweet. And then if you guys look over here, here's a visual representation of what we're about to do, but this little cover is going to latch into the latch up there on the ceiling closest to us. So we're going to take this whole piece and slide it in. So I'm going to hand it over to Chase, and we're both going to do some work on this here.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is Kevin, who's holding the camera, is going to drop the screen just a little bit and then hit the stop button so that it's like right here. And that way we can get this up and in. Perfect. And then we're just going to slip this puppy into the groove like that. And then it magnetically clips. That's clean. Yeah. Now send it up. Oh, she a little loose. We'll need to do a little bit of work to... Are you all the way up? Try to hit up. Try to take it down and back up one more time. All right, come over here, guys. I want to show you something. So whenever we just installed it, we saw a little bit of gap, and I'm extremely anal, so I want this thing perfect. We just need to make an adjustment here, I believe. We're going to go ahead and loosen up this screw. And yeah, not a lot. And we're just going to let it come down. I'm going to let it come down all the way because it only moved about 1/8 of an inch, but that might be enough. Throw the screwdriver over to Chase. He's going to rinse and repeat over there, and then we're going to test it again.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it only moved a little bit, but that might be all we needed. I just moved it all the way down. All right, so now we're going... All right, so now we're going to go ahead and test it and make sure it goes flush. Worse. It's worse. The other direction. We took it in the opposite direction, so we're just going to tweak it back the other way. Once we get it perfect, we'll show you guys how it sits flush.
This has the most play. You have to do this a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah, let's give it a go. All right, so now we're going to test it and see if it goes flush. Oh, so it actually moves this bar up a little. Yeah, that'll fix it. So I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but there's little teeth here. We're just making this bar higher so that it pulls this enclosure higher. And I'm gonna pull this down because it went the other direction whenever we just tried it. So I'm gonna pull that all the way down as well. we should make it pretty dang tight. Chase is going to do the same thing on that side. Cool. So once we get that dialed in, this thing should sit 100% flush, which is what we're going for. So it takes a little patience. Well, yeah, now we're talking. All right, that's what we're looking for. Totally tight. So stealthy, bro. So stealthy. That's what I'm talking about. Moving along. All right, guys, so we got everything pretty much prepped for speaker installation. We still got to get down this back wall into the rack room, which is going to pose, a little struggle. But we're to the point now where we want to start bringing in the speakers. So we're going to clean up this entire room, rip up the plastic, try to get everything cleaned up, and then we'll lay down new plastic for the sheetrock guys tomorrow. All right, Dreamedia family, we are now on day 4 of this installation. We've been taking it nice and slow, meticulously aligning every single speaker for our initial design to make sure things line up and go smoothly. We've overcome extreme obstacles, everything from high voltage 240 electrical lines that needed to be removed, high voltage 120, as well as we had some dryer vents, we had gas lines, we had floor joists, structural steel beams. I mean, one obstacle after another, which really is the name of custom integration. When it comes to retrofit existing homes and we're trying to put in a killer system like this, I mean, we're going to have a 5.4.6 and 11 channel full home theater that's super stealthy. I mean, that doesn't happen easily or quickly. So we allocated the entire week in order to complete this project. Now, today we're gonna continue with unboxing the rest of our product. Yesterday, we went ahead and took down all of our plastic wrap and did a light cleanup on the space. We're gonna continue to clean the room as well as unbox the rest of the products today. And then we're gonna be moving on to finishing our home run here at the rear of the room. We're gonna lay down new plastic and get ready for the sheetrock crew. We got the drywall guys scheduled for noon today. They're gonna be coming in and patching all of the unnecessary holes that aren't needed. Well, they were required in order for us to run the wire, but not needed now that we've got the wiring in place. So get the room cleaned up, get all the holes patched, and then tomorrow we'll be back for hopefully the final installation. So the goal would be to come back tomorrow for the final installation on day 5. We do have one hiccup, and we're just praying that it goes smoothly. We have the additional 2 SB16 Ultras from SVS that have been on order. There are some shipping issues, but it looks like they're expected to arrive by the end of the day tomorrow. So we're praying those come in and we can get this entire project buttoned up. But we're going to continue forward today, and there's still a lot of details that I'm going to be covering and things to go over. So good information packed into this full form, very extensive home theater installation here in Colorado. We're also going to be installing all of our speakers today, which believe it or not, now that all the wiring's in place and the holes are cut, is a fairly easy process. I say fairly. Well, we'll see how it goes. There's still a lot of wiring and things that need to be moved and framing that some of our speakers are going to butt up against, but we're going to record that entire thing, as well as we got to get the touchscreen on the wall for URC, get our wires home run, and we're going to kind of put some of these patches back in before the sheetrock guys get here at noon. So that's a little update where we are the morning of day 4. This is a 5-day install, and we are getting close. We got through a lot of the hard, heavy lifting these last few days, and now we get to move on to some of the fun stuff, like getting the speakers in, hooking things up, moving along. All right, guys, I really appreciate everybody's support. Thank you guys for tuning in, commenting to drive up engagement, giving us big thumbs up, and you guys like this type of content, smash that subscribe button down below. All right, guys, let's get into it. All right, guys, so we're going to be unboxing our AVR. There's a few different ways you can go into building a home theater. For entry to mid-level home theaters, we always use an AVR, an audio video receiver. And the reason is because it's more affordable and it's an all-in-one unit. It's going to provide amplification for all of the speakers in this room. It's also going to handle the processing and the decoding for audio or Dolby Atmos formatting and any upscaling that needs to happen for content that is not Dolby Atmos. When we're talking about Dolby Atmos, we're talking about separation in channel between low-level effects and overhead effects. So just imagine you're watching, say, Ready Player One or Top Gun. Let's use a car and an airplane as an example. You're watching a scene and the car is screeching around a corner, kicking up rocks, and maybe bullets are flying from guys shooting at the car. Prime example. You're going to hear those bullets flying around the rim at ear level, as well as like the car moving as it kind of drifts the corner around the scene. You're gonna hear that car and the engine right around the room at ear level. And then maybe there's like a helicopter, that plane or whatever above you in the scene. It could even be like, say, sniper on the roof, as an example. You're going to hear all of those effects above you. So it makes it a very immersive experience, a 3D experience, as if you're in a bubble. I mean, many times our homeowners say that our home theaters that we installed sound better than your commercial theater.
They do.
In many cases, a properly set up home theater will leave you having no desire to go to the commercial theaters. It's a pretty special experience. If you haven't experienced spatial audio in Dolby Atmos, it is a game changer. Back in the day when I first got into the industry, a 5.1 was our standard format, Dolby Digital. That was the big game changer. A 5-channel bed layer, front, left, right, and center, and surround left and right. And you'd hear those effects popping off behind you, but it didn't matter if it was overhead. It didn't matter if it was to the side. It didn't matter really the specific location in the scene. It was just all effects went through the rears. And then we graduated to 7.1 and we were like, whoa, now we have side effects. And that was amazing. We were able to add a little bit more travel through the room, making it more immersive. Well, Dolby Atmos just takes that to the next level, guys. I mean, the ability for all those effects to rip around the room and behind the room is one thing, but then when you put it all above you, it just changes the game. So in this room, we're actually running 6 Dolby Atmos speakers, and not any Dolby Atmos speakers. We upgraded this client due to availability to the Focal 300 series IC LCR 5. I mean, look at these things, guys. Absolute monster. This is supposed to be used, or typically used, as a front, left, right, or center. Hence LCR, because it has your mid-range woofers and then your tweeter array here in your mid woofer. what I like is this entire assembly rotates so that we can directionally point our audio towards our listening area. That's going to be really important in a room like this where we have 6 speakers. We want all of that audio firing towards the primary listening area. So overhead effects, low level effects, immersive 3D experience. That's what Dolby Atmos is all about. We're going to show you guys an up close look at these as we start installing them, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of the level of home theater that we're putting in here. All right, so back to the AVR, guys. So an AVR is all-in-one. This is perfect for entry to mid-level systems. There's also the other option where you can go separates. You have a processor, which is handling your HDMI ports, all of your connections for analog and digital, optical, AM, FM antennas, which we don't really use anymore, your network connection, all these goodies would be on your processor. And that's going to send your signal to your amplifier, which could be separate. That's why they call it separate. So like in this unit, these are all of our speaker terminals right here. All of our speakers are going to connect directly to the terminals here, and the amplifier is built in. So you got processing for audio and video. It's going to send all your HDMI up to your projector. We got HDCP 2.3, latest and greatest. We got some 8K ports on here, ensuring that we get the absolute best resolution out of our Epson LS12000. This unit is affordable and it gets the job done. Denon and Marantz are a couple of my favorites, guys. When it comes to bang for the buck, good quality components, all in one, it's really hard to beat. Even for separates, I unboxed the Marantz and actually ran into my room up in my home theater for a while. The AV10 and the AMP10, which is the nice 16 channel separates. Marantz is stepping up the game. And then Denon, I unboxed the A1H as well, and that has a 15.4 all in one. So like this is an 11 channel system. The A1H is 15 all in one chassis. It's pretty intense. If you're going, I would say if your budget's anywhere above 100,000, typically we're going to go separates.
Yeah.
And that's just because you're spending more money on the amps and you don't want to have to replace those. The problem with all-in-one AVRs is that when your HDMI ports expire
Every couple of years, they were upgrading the standard.
yeah, it's every couple years they're upgrading, but technology and the recording of the content that we watch is always ahead of the game, but the displays, the projectors, the TVs are always behind.
Yeah.
So typically what I tell customers is you're going to get 5 to 10 years out of an AVR if you don't switch out your display. If you keep the same projector, same screen, you can run this AVR for 5 to 10 years before you're going to be jelly and wanting to upgrade to the latest format.
My secondary room, my Marantz is 13 years old now.
Oh, wow.
That's an older display, right? So I was able to keep it.
Yeah.
That's all just heat treatment there. So the longer, the better you could dissipate heat off of one of these units that generate a ton of heat, the much longer lifespan you'll have.
Very true. Guys, if you're thinking about jamming these in the cabinets, this is the #1 product that goes bad, and it's always user error. It is in putting it into tiny spaces that have no ventilation and they just burn up. I mean, this homeowner here is a prime example.
Cool components.
They actually had a rack put in. We have a rack in there, but the builder didn't put any ventilation to get the heat out of there. So although the rack has vents in the top and it's pulling the heat off of the units, it's just stagnant in the closet.
There's no air exchange, so it's just building up heat. You open up that door and you just get hit by like hot air. Yeah, it's a bad sign for your amplifier.
If you open up your cabinet or your closet and it's any hotter than the main area, you have an issue.
Yeah.
So in phase 2, we discussed that when we showed up on site with the homeowner and made them aware of the issue, and we're coming back to drop in some an intake and an outtake on this closet here, and we have the exact same cool components, these little fans. There's all type of kits with rings to where you can make it look like an air duct on the outside, or you can put it into a cabinet, circular little, there's a bunch of options. So like any type of cabinetry or furniture even, gosh, I can't tell you how many down in Texas. When I go down to Texas, I see it all the time. People will pick up your everyday furniture cabinet just from their wherever, Nebraska Furniture Mart or wherever, they grab a cabinet and it's not designed for audio video equipment, and they put it in there. They don't know. If you're watching this video, you may not know, and that's why we're out here trying to educate people. They put it in there, and then it's like a year later, 6 months even later, I've seen units burns up. Sometimes it's years down the line when it's out of warranty, and that always breaks my heart.
It'll void your warranty if you let your AVR cook.
Yeah,
you have to send that back, and they'll know that it overheated. Components will start melting. The solderings will look weird. It's not that hard to tell once you open up a unit if it was treated poorly heat-wise. Just protect your investment. It's a couple bucks compared to the AVR to get something like cool components fan that we're going to do here, guys. So we'll show this whole build, but in the bar there, we've kind of got an area of the drywall that's not very visible. Cool Components sells a HVAC fan, small one, an intake and an outtake air exchange that looks like your standard HVAC vent with the temperature readout. So we're going to recess that on close to the floorboard as we can under the bar there, guys. And that'll just make sure that we're getting fresh air cycle into the space, because this is a nice big room. If that rack room was vented at all, that equipment would last much longer. So we're just going to make sure that happens. There's a lot of Sonos gear and stuff in there.
Yep.
It's been sitting in there in that hot closet for years. It still runs. It's definitely going to mess with the lifespan of your amplifiers, though.
Yep. So we're coming into this home and going over all best practices and making sure that this homeowner's investment lasts for years to come. So AVRs all in one. It's your head unit. It's the brain of your system. It's processing your video. It's processing your audio. It's sending the image from out of all your sources, whether that's Xfinity, Apple, Kaleidoscape. It's sending all of those sources through the HDMI matrix switcher that's built in to the projector in this room, or in some spaces your video wall or your television, your display. Additionally, we have a unit, and I spec this unit, recommended it specifically for this room, that has a secondary HDMI port on it. And if you were following along and you watched the whole video, you saw that when we pre-wired this room, we went ahead and ran an extra HDMI cable out to the patio.
We have 3 on this unit.
This one has 3. So that gives us the ability to, in phase 2, when we move this TV outside to the patio and put an ARC TV here, we can then connect HDMIs to the patio TV. And if we wanted to, the homeowner said specifically that they weren't going to be using it because they're going to either put a physical piece of art or an ARC TV.
Yeah.
But we could potentially also route the video to this display all off of this one all-in-one AVR. Now, there's different HDMI out ports on these AVRs or processors, and you have to be aware of if it's just a pass-through or if it actually has switching capabilities built in. Many times on AVRs, on entry-level ones, you'll see a Zone 2 output, but that output is just going to mirror the display that's in most of your primary zone. These more high-end options like this Denon here actually has the ability for you to do completely separate source on Zone 2, and it probably has Zone 3 as just a mirror.
There's a monitor, which can be used for your projector, which won't require audio content under any circumstances if you are doing multi-display. So essentially, if you're doing a multi-display and your AVR is 2 zones, a regular output and then a monitor, and you're doing this exact rig that Zach is talking about now, you're going to use your monitor out, which is just a video feed, no audio content to your projector, and then you'll use your main out, which we have 3 here, right, guys? We have a 4K standard out for Zone 2. We have our main out,
all these will process 8K content, but this one is eARC enabled. So if you are just using a smart TV, you want to make sure to hook up to your eARC port there. And then again, just a video monitor there, which is perfect for a scenario like this, where you got a projector that doesn't need audio content because this guy's handling that process. One thing I want to talk about, Zach, I've been trying to get on video for a while. So this is a Bluetooth Wi-Fi antenna here, but on a lot of units, especially entry-level units, that'll be an RF antenna for your remote, right? I go into houses all the time where they're saying, hey, the remote never works with my AVR. They grab it and they flip it up like this. This guy cast out a circular band, right? So if I flip the access like this, you can imagine that really narrows where my remote is going to make communication. So if you have an RF antenna, guys, leave it like this. That then switches the band that we're receiving signals to this area and gives you a much easier and more reliable remote response if you're using a remote from the AVR, guys. I see this all the time. Oh, my AVR doesn't receive remote signals, right? You flipped the band and now there's a very narrow, maybe like 1 foot window, right, that your remote will work in when it's pointed directly at the receiver. If you flip it like this, your remote should work pretty much anywhere directionally in the zone of the AVR. I see that issue all the time. That one have to able to bring it up.
Great little tip.
For Wi-Fi, it's not as important, but if you're using an RF remote, don't point it up.
I love how Chase is always in these videos just dropping knowledge left and right. He's in the field every day and he just constantly is running into homeowners with issues. It's what we do, right? When you guys are in trouble, you give us a call. So he's always given these little pro tips throughout all of our videos, and I'm very grateful that you do that. And if you guys are wanting more inspiration and you're not already subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button down below and give us turn on those bell notifications. And every single time we come out with a video, which in a lot of them Chase is giving some pro tips, you'll get that notification. So this is the AVR. We also have separates for more high-end systems. This is I would say very modest theater. We're calling it the stealth theater. It's not over the top, but it's not entry level.
No.
By any means. I would say it's a very sophisticated format, but we did try to keep the budget reasonable on this project. We're going to come in right around 50 grand on this one. So I do want to take you guys outside because the electricians were here yesterday and they pulled they pulled our power for the projector. All of our subwoofers, that's in now. You probably saw it in some of the B-roll or time-lapse footage from yesterday. They were like, I don't know, it's at one point probably 8 of us in here working.
Oh yeah.
And the electricians got all of the outlets put directly behind our subwoofers so that we don't see any wires. They got the projector outlet put in, and they also put in that outlet for the hot tub TV for phase 2 when we move this out there, as well as a plate that houses our HDMI cable. So I'm going to take you guys out there and show you that outlet and HDMI termination, as well as kind of give you a visual from the hot tub. I think that's where the magic's gonna happen. This homeowner uses the hot tub every single night. He's a big skier, big athlete, and loves to use his hot tub at the end of the day to decompress and relax. So I want to go out there and give you guys kind of a little point of view as to kind of what he's going to be looking at when the whole project's done. I'm going to pop the lid on it and, get some really nice shots of him enjoying the hot tub. But we're kind of at a halfway-ish point. So I just wanted to give you guys some inspiration as to where we're heading with this. So I'm going to grab the remote and we're going to go out there, show you that outlet, and show you kind of a little view of what he's going to see with the screen drop. All right, follow me, guys. All right, so check it out here, guys. We are now out on the back patio, and here the electricians put in our power and a GFCI rated box, as well as a blank plate or the HDMI. And then it's actually going to be hard to see here in the daytime on camera because these windows have such a reflection on it, but well, no, I wanted to show the screen going down. Yeah. All good. Yeah, so he's gonna be like chilling out here in the hot tub, relaxing at night, and he should be able to view this massive screen right from the tub. So Chase is gonna drop that screen and show you guys
You guys ready for this?
kind of roughly that we're just recording this on the cheaper cameras.
Coolest location for a jacuzzi in relation, like a theater hybrid media room.
I mean, this is perfect. I mean, he's going to be able to chill out right here and watch his sports, which he's a big sports buff as well, on this massive 120-inch screen. We've basically doubled our screen size from the TV, and we've also made the viewing angle a lot better.
Because if you were seeing the jacuzzi right now, even if you moved this really nice, strong articulating mount,
And we did. He was doing that.
guys, this pillars right here, which is structural, you're seeing the corners of the TV. If you're sitting in the middle of the jacuzzi, it doesn't matter if the TV's angled. I'm staring.
Yeah,
at
it was not ideal. It got the job done, but it wasn't ideal. So now the homeowner is going to have this massive screen, and he can either put the exact same content on up here, or he can play something completely different.
Why would we do that? He's a big sports fan, guys. So this is going to allow him to put A and B game and watch them at the same time from his jacuzzi. That's pretty cool.
That's sick.
Yeah, March Madness is coming up. It's going to be sweet.
Or here's a dad's perspective. His kids are all grown. I'll give you kind of how I would be using this space. So my son's 4, and he likes his shows. You know, let's say Paw Patrol. He runs our house, right? Like, I do not get to watch anything that I want to watch anymore. It's constantly kids content. So what would happen in my house is I'd probably have Paw Patrol on the big one, you know, because he's the boss. And I would have something that me and my wife like playing on the other TV, like something on Netflix or whatnot, so that everybody in the home is happy. That's another use case, but our sports buffs are going to absolutely love a dual setup.
We haven't even gotten to this part of build yet, but guys, we found that there's a bunch of Sonos distributed audio infrastructure in there, so we're just reutilizing that, you know, like expanding the system, right? So we're going to have another Sonos zone. The homeowner will be able to pass this audio to the outdoor speakers if he's outside, and vice versa, even though you wouldn't do that, right? So even though the screen's here and he could run this killer zone, he's not just going to be watching a picture with no audio out there. You can easily just open up the Sonos interface and pass the audio from the projector to what will be the Sonos Arc soundbar and the side speakers and our future landscape system out here, guys.
Yeah, so if you guys are following along with the pre-wire, we actually ran over here, which will eventually stub out right here on the side wall, a extra wire. And so if you guys are following along with the pre-wire right here, we actually ran an extra 14.4 direct burial speaker wire, because in my home, I put satellite speakers all around the backyard with a big 12-inch in-ground subwoofer, and paired that together with the rest of my distributed audio system for the house. And the homeowner, he wants the same thing here, potentially in the summertime. We'll come back and put that in. It really changes the game for outdoor entertainment, because here in Colorado, especially where we live up in the high country, it's big valleys, and we're high up in elevation. And what happens is these builders, they put the speakers just firing out towards your other neighbors, and what the audio does is it just reverbs down these valleys to where homeowners 2, 3, 4 houses down can clearly hear your audio. And it's rude, quite frankly, right? Like, you're having a good time. Well, maybe your neighbor wants to get some sleep so he can go skiing early in the morning. This gives you the ability to still have high quality audio distributed throughout the space, firing into the home, so that the audio isn't firing out towards the neighbors. It gives you better quality audio, and it makes everybody in the neighborhood happy as well. So we stubbed that one in so that he can add that in addition to the ones on the side of the house. He'll probably still use the ones on the side of the house, but he won't have to crank them to say 80% anymore when he's using the hot tub. He'll have them on at say 25 to 35%, and then he'll have the other speakers at 25 to 30% so that it's not loud, it's just high quality. Same thing we're trying to go for whenever we're putting speakers throughout homes is a clean dB read from room to room and even through hallways, so that it's kind of like if you've been to a nice hotel where no matter where you go, you're in the bathroom, you're at the pool, you're in the elevator, you hear the same level of audio, just background music faintly throughout that entire hotel. That's what we do in these high-end homes, is give you clean distributed audio. So I think I'm getting a little off topic here, but it is important to notate everything that's going on at this property. And when we're done with the theater install, we'll be giving you a full tour of where we're at on this project throughout the entire house. It's a beautiful mountain modern home. Okay, so we got the AVR out. This is our all-in-one, guys. Next, I'd like to show off all the speakers. We got them out of the box yesterday, but I didn't give an up-close look. So I want to kind of run through these speakers and show off the technology. We're featuring two things. We're featuring aluminum, magnesium, inverted dome tweeter right here. This is a proprietary tweeter that is made in-house by Focal, and it's something they're really known for. It's used in their old the Aria line.
Yeah.
It's used even on the Cantas. And then I think when you go to the Sopras, they go to the beryllium inverted dome tweeter. But this produces really high quality, clean, high frequency effects. And what I really love is that rotatable inverted dome tweeter. And what that allows us to do is directionally point our audio towards our listening area, because high frequency audio is basically line of sight.
Very directional.
It's directional. It's line of sight. Like you can hold a string up, and wherever that tweeter is pointed, you got a listening cone. But still, if the more precise you can get that tweeter towards the listening area, the more clean the high frequency effects are going to come through. So the next proprietary element to the Focal 300 series is going to be their flax woofer. This is actually something that is
Saber woofers.
Yeah, they're very responsive. They're lightweight yet rigid and perform really well in producing treble, your mid-range frequency. So our high frequencies, like say somebody talking, me talking right now, would be a high frequency. If I wanted to talk with a growl, it would be a little bit more of a treble. And then bass is that visceral, just smacking you in the back, heart pounding, like you're driving a high performance sports car and you hear that exhaust, you feel the exhaust just rattling through your butt. It's that experience. And we'll be putting on demo scenes like Ford versus Ferrari so you can see this customer's reaction. In this room, we're using these focals for the IW6s for front left, right, and rear left, right. But then we had availability issues on our NCI. So this is going to be probably one of the coolest 300 series Atmos systems I think I've ever installed. I mean, I've never put LCRs in for Dolby Atmos speakers just due to budget. Typically we only put the LCRs across the front soundstage and sometimes for our surround, if the budget allows. But in a full Atmos LCR system, it should sound incredible. We're gonna have nice full mid-range coming from above as well as all around us, and then we're going to be topping that off with these massive 16-inch subwoofers from SVS, which we'll be getting out of the box here in just a moment. But we're going to be putting them right underneath our left front, right front, rear left, and right speakers, so that depending on where the audio is transitioning through the room, you're going to hear that bass effect in the appropriate location.
So Zach, you dove into directional sound. So maybe you don't have a tuned ear, or maybe you're just like, man, how do I relate that to me? If you're walking in the woods or walking anywhere and someone steps on a twig, you instinctually can turn and point at the sound directly.
something low, like a plane flies overhead, or for us up here when they're shooting the cannons on the mountain.
Yeah.
You just feel it. There's no like,
Yeah, when they're blasting avalanche.
yeah, and you can relate that the low frequencies aren't going to make you turn your head and point at them. You can't. But the high frequencies, they will. So it's the same thing. That's why we're, we directionally place our mids. We in the space, we place our mids where they would be best.
Yeah.
We aim our tweeters for the best higher spots, and then sub is a little more flexible.
A little more flexible, but also low end. Subwoofers will perform better in certain areas of the room.
Yeah.
Like, as an example, you corner load a sub, it's gonna give you maybe a 10 dB bump versus if you were to put it in the middle of the wall. So placement is somewhat important. And that's why in this room, we have it in every corner we can.
Floor. We have a concrete floor here we're dealing with. So if you're putting a room like this on your second floor, you may not need as much because you have no subfloor of concrete right there. So the subs are actually able to speak a little more. When they're just firing down into concrete, it does not limit the sub's capability, but you need more sub in a room like that to make it speak.
It is 100% limiting. It is absorbing that audio versus when you're on a subfloor, it's reverbing through
Floor and through it.
Yeah, through the floor joists, the everything that it's attached to.
Yeah.
Whereas when it hits the concrete, it just stops.
Yeah, which is why we need 4 16s in the space to really make it fit in well with this sweet folk outline.
So just a little bit more information than maybe you guys were looking for, right? We're trying to educate here. So high frequency audio is directional. Subwoofers are omnidirectional, meaning they don't need to be pointed, but it is important you select the best possible location in your room for your subwoofers. As an example, in many rooms that are deep, I recommend a minimum of 2 subwoofers, and that's going to give you better distribution throughout the space so that you're getting a more even and more consistent audio experience throughout every seat in the room.
We say that, but we both have 4 sub.
Well, the more the merrier. I mean, honestly, I've never put a new sub in and been like, oh, I don't need that. I'm like, yeah, give me more. So in this space, because it's not a long room, it's a wide room, we went with 4 because their seating area isn't rows of seating. It's a very spread out, wide, relaxed seating area. So it's really the same challenge as having multiple rows. It's just wide, which is why we went so wide with our Atmos decks and our fronts and rear speakers to ensure that we get the best possible experience for all of the seats.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, that is kind of a recap of where we're at right now. Next, we need to go ahead and take out our subwoofers. We only have 2 today, unfortunately, but there are going to be 2 more coming tomorrow.
These things are monsters. I can't wait.
Let's get them out. All right, guys. So the SB16 Ultras. These have been some of my favorite subwoofers, honestly. SVS as a brand had always been, in my mind, bang for the buck.
Dude, this is so good for the fry. It makes no sense how they're able to put with the phone app, which no one utilizes.
Their DSP is
Love my phone app. Their night mode, man, keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah, so if you haven't checked out their app and the DSP built into the S Boost, and pretty much I think all models.
Oh yeah.
All the way down to their little the SED 1000 houses with it. Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, really a value company, incredible. Actually, the company is out of Ohio, which kind of hits near and dear to my heart because I was born in Ohio.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Learning something every day, guys.
In Cleveland, and then, spent a decade down in Texas. So on these, Chase, hold on a second before you break your back. You never done the subwoofer push?
Not from SVS. I normally do the flip and let gravity keep it on the ground.
Okay, so I'll show you how everybody online does it on the forums and stuff. It's called the subwoofer push.
Okay, show me the subwoofer push.
He's I'll get an RDS, so pop it on this other side. And you just push it right out.
Okay.
Okay.
The whole thing. So you open up. Oh, anyone that follows the Colorado channel knows I just leverage gravity. Flying of the techniques.
No, that works too. But see, open from other side for full unboxing instructions. I think it's actually in their instructions to do it like that. But we're gonna open it up completely, Chase.
Oh yeah, push. Is it over here?
Push up rear subwoofer push. Yep. So you'll find that this is even easier, Chase.
I've opened up the inside.
There you go. So yeah, SVS value-based subwoofers. I mean, incredible bang for your buck. Great frequency response. They also have a killer in wall and dual. It's a cool line, inch sealed in wall sub that performs pretty well. But they have everything from very affordable to the big boys like this. This is an SB, meaning sealed subwoofer, which is going to give you tighter, more accurate, more musical bass response. And then you got the PBs, which are ported, and you get a little bit further extension.
Yeah.
But not as tight. I'm a sealed.
I'm a musical sub guy myself as well. If you're looking to move air and feel air, Porter is the way for you.
Yeah.
I like their type, clean music boards. I don't like the bass hanging around. I use my space mostly for music, even though it's a theater.
Yeah.
Just because I'm in there.
I do a lot of spatial audio as well.
Yeah, and for me, I just, boom, tight, precision.
Tight punch.
That is hard to do with this 16-inch driver or any driver over 8 inches, pretty much. SVS does a great job. You just brought up their in-the-wall. That's a sealed in-the-wall cells too. It's a sealed cabinet, so it performs a lot better than some of the other. And for the combo price with the sub amp, it's hard to be
Very hard. Isn't it like $3,000?
It's less than $3,000
For the dual, I think. You can get
the dual with the amp. I think is right around. So I'm wrong. Let's throw a B-roll up or a screenshot up from our website. I think it's $28.99. It's around there.
I think so. For 2 dual 9s in the amp. I think the single is only $19.99.
Yeah,
I may be wrong. We'll throw up the price, but everything with SVS, they affordable. They perform really. We have higher end options, like, you know, if you're wanting infrasonics, like down to over hertz.
Yeah.
We have very high end options from our good friends over at RBH.
1-1. The only one entry to the other is life. You hear them in person.
It's our danger and fire standpoint on what bass means. But even these, 4 of these, it's gonna sound good. Let's not get too off tricky. I want to 8 the system. This is gonna sound absolutely
Yeah.
all right. So we're gonna go ahead and push this out. Yeah, that's how you do it right there. That's the subwoofer push. All right, guys. So here's a look at the woofer, 16-inch driver, nice piano gloss finish, beautiful speaker. Here's all our focals lined up. It does come with the manual, little remote. You can also use the app. Here's what the remote looks like. Pretty basic commands on it. They got some preset EQs, which is nice. Power cord. And then the ported model comes with some port plugs. This is sealed, so a little bit more compact.
So we didn't talk about that at all. I don't know if we have, but guys, if you get a ported,
You get foam inserts to kind of like get you closer to a sealed. If that ends up sounding better in your space, it's not as tight as a sealed sub, but the port does give you that flexibility there if you're not sure what will sound good in your space.
All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and unbox subwoofer number 2.
And that's what Zach was talking about, guys. So right when you see, you got to start here. SVS is trying to make this as easy as possible. I should read more.
All right, check it out, guys. So we're gonna be doing 4 of these. We only have 2 here today, but we got 1 16, 2 16, and we'll probably just start out by placing them at the front of the room or the back of the room, and then when the other 2 come in, we'll be adding them right here. Left, right, left, right. Everything's already wired. As you can see over here, we have our power outlet in. We got our RG6 coaxial cable, and that goes for all locations. Same thing back there in this corner. So as we continue forward, whenever we get to the end and we're ready to make our final connections and everything's nice and clean, we'll pull these out and get them connected. All right, guys, so we just laid out this beautiful display for our thumbnail picture that hopefully got you guys to click on this video. Let me give you a recap here. We got all of our in-ceiling Atmos speakers here. These are the Focal 300 ICLCR5s. And then we have for our front left and right, rear left and right, the Focal IW6s, again, the 300 series featuring their aluminum magnesium inverted dome tweeters and the flax woofers. As well as we're gonna have a total of 4. We're actually missing 2 still.
Yeah.
We're gonna have 4 of these massive SVS PB or SB 16 Ultras. So now that we got our picture, we're gonna go ahead and start popping all these speakers in. I'm super excited. Thanks for following along, guys.